David Lang, and this is the third March Against Monsanto rally here in Edmonton.
And are you with a particular group or organization who's helping put this on today?
Well, I was with the planning committee, the March Against Monsanto planning committee. I'm also a member of Occupy Edmonton, and we pulled in a lot of people and resources from that organization to help with this rally together this time.
So March Against Monsanto, what exactly is that?
Well, we're standing against genetically modified organisms in our food supply. Monsanto is a chemical company which is trying to seize control of our food. As an organic farmer and growing up on an organic farm, I been ingrained against this sort of thing. I think food should be in the hands of people, not in the hands of corporations for profits. I think the biotech industry is altering food to try to maximize profits and is causing ecological risks and also health risks for people.
And what do you think should be done to help protest against groups like Monsanto, protest against GMOs in general?
I think the most effective first step we can take, the kind of low-hanging fruit, is what's happening a lot in the United States with labeling. I feel if we can push to get GMOs labeled, then the consumer will have the ability to make the conscious choice to choose GMO or non-GMO, and also it'll put the topic into the mainstream eye of the average consumer. A lot of people don't even know about GMOs. You know, it's very secretive what the biotech industry is doing, and it's the food we're eating. So it's very pertinent information that we should all have.
Great. Okay, thanks.
I was asked to talk a bit about climate change as well with Monsanto. It doesn't seem like there's a correlation. But of course, when Monsanto came out in the 60s with all of their miracle stuff for soil, one of their claims was that their new GMO products would also increase yields, especially in drought conditions and flood conditions, all of the ones that of course we know are anticipating for climate change in certain areas. The science, of course, never bore that out. Study after study has indicated that there is no way the GMOs fulfill these requirements. The other issue, of course, is that the UN has come out saying that beyond a doubt, organic farming, especially on small scale, is the best way to feed the planet, particularly in local areas. We already...
Yeah, organic!
So we know this from science, we know this from other things. Monsanto is still claiming that if you use their GMO products, you'll have higher yields, but we also know that because of their knowledge of science, they've also perverted it to try and say things that we know aren't true. For example, that their chemical farming will feed the world. Well, we can already feed the world. We already have enough food for 11 billion people, but it's not getting to the people. One of the reasons it's not getting to the people is because they can't afford it. Because Monsanto is making sure that seeds are no longer affordable, that food is no longer affordable. Most people don't know that in Canada, we store about 150 days worth of wheat. We have literally millions of tons of wheat sitting in bins that is really hard to keep dry, to keep from blowing up, to keep cool, to keep from molding. We keep that, and we are not allowed to sell it on the world market because it will drop the prices. Monsanto has been extremely instrumental in making sure that it stays that way. 300,000 farmers in India, small farmers, have committed suicide because they owe so much money to Monsanto that they can't keep their farms from going under. So they often commit suicide by actually ingesting Monsanto chemicals, their own pesticides, as a form of protest. This is beyond pandemic at the moment. This is beyond apocalypsean. We are currently sheltered from it because we have a lot of resources that we can draw on, mostly because we're drawing them from other areas.
Hi everyone. Last Friday there was a swarm in central London on Victoria Street, which is like a really big commercial district of London. There was a swarm, and the bees alighted onto the huge plate glass window of a shop, Topshop, and I read about this. And so what happened? Well, there's some good photos of like a couple of people doing this, and there's a bunch of people taking photographs. And then what happened is that a really well-trained beekeeper who happens to be the manager of an adjacent department store, this gentleman Tom Mann, was called over. He had all the equipment that he needed. He came basically next door to the shop that had the swarm on its window. He had a temporary hive to capture the swarm in. He set it aside temporarily, and then who came forward, then it was going to be given to who wanted to have this hive, to begin a hive. And the people at the Westminster Cathedral nearby wanted it, and they have established it on their roof. Tom Mann is one of over a dozen people just in that business district of Victoria. There are multiple business districts in Greater London, and each of them have a dozen or more people who are well trained in the theory of beekeeping, the practice of beekeeping, and they have the equipment and what they need to engage in any situation that arises in their area. So I was going to say that Tom Mann says that bees are a keystone species, and so they're very organized to deal with this situation. Anyhow, the article was super relaxed. It was super reasonable. It was just kind of saying what happened. It wasn't hysterical. It wasn't calling into question safety and, how are we doing with this? People in London are really on board with urban beekeeping. They really get it, and they really practice it. In Edmonton and in Alberta in general, I find it quite disturbing how quickly we are to kill other species, on the other hand. Beavers, we just kill them. Bees, bears, coyotes, anything that's really a nuisance, that's kind of encroaching on our space in any way, we kill it, And I just thought about that as I was reading this article. And even if they're not killed intentionally, like the bears and the beavers, they're killed incidentally by things like neonicotinoids, like pesticides, like the insecticide that Monsanto produces, which is a family called neonicotinoids, and they're seen to be one of the major causes of colony collapse disorder. Although colony collapse disorder is a complicated situation, neonicotinoids are being proven to be a key challenge to bees and killing them off. The reports are daily, practically, at least in what I'm reading online, about the information that's coming out about neonicotinoids and their detriment to bees and other pollinators. Just yesterday, literally on the CBC website, do I need to wrap it up? 1 minute? Okay. This is from Health Canada. Current agricultural practices related to the use of neonicotinoid-treated corn and soybean seed are not sustainable due to their impacts on bees and other pollinators. That's from Health Canada. We need to keep up our resistance to Monsanto. We should be like the EU and have a moratorium, a ban on neonicotinoids and a total moratorium on GMOs. We also need better local zoning bylaws that safeguard land and encourage sustainable living. And just to wrap up, we also have to be sure that we're mindful and impeccable in our own beekeeping practice. A lot of people are drawn to beekeeping, and I can totally understand why. But this is dealing with and working with, 70,000 bees in a hive at the height of summer. And we really need to make sure that our practice is as mindful and impeccable so that we don't cause harm to them as well. So there's a few groups involved in beekeeping, urban beekeeping and non-urban beekeeping. There's lots of electronic and print available. There's mentors available to support us. Let's work together, practice together, and keep up the resistance.
Hi. Okay, I actually have many hats. I'm a parent. I'm a consumer of food. My wife and I started and we own the Organic Box. I'm also on the board of directors for the Organic Alberta Council, which is the association which represents all organic farmers in Alberta. Finally, I'm an organic fruit and vegetable farmer. We also own a farm. And today I want to speak to you using my organic fruit and vegetable hat. So first off is labeling. So we know that the vast majority, 80% or more, of the processed food that we eat today has genetically modified ingredients in it. This is true. We have a right to know as consumers what is in our food. We absolutely do. Just like the nutrition facts label, which tells you how much salt or how much fat or how much sugar, we should also be told how much of this product contains genetically modified ingredients. If given this information, I know with all the hats I wear in my life that consumers will begin to make the right choices for their families. If we tell people what is in their food, they will start to change the food that they buy. And if we can alter the demand of this product, we will alter the supply. Now, this battle is already being fought in the US. Many states have introduced food labeling laws. Many plebiscites and votes have been had, and the battle is ongoing. But in Canada, that battle hasn't really started yet. And it's time that we brought that debate and we brought that discussion to Canada. We need to have a national conversation about food labeling for genetically modified ingredients. We absolutely do. You have to beware when you're shopping in the grocery store, the all-natural or made from natural ingredients. That word natural is a dangerous word because it has no legal basis. It has no standing. You could say your food is from Mars and it would be just as truthful as saying it's natural. There's only two ways to know whether your food has genetically modified ingredients in it. The first way is if it has the non-GMO verified project label on it. The other way is if it's certified organic. Only certified organic or non-GMO verified products use third-party verification to ensure that there are no genetically modified ingredients in that food. There is no other way to know. And while the organic industry is stepping up and labeling its food to let consumers know, it's not enough because 80% of our food has GMOs in it. We need that food labeled, and we need it labeled now.
I have interviewed organic farmers, conventional farmers, GMO farmers, and we have a big role to play in what's going on in our food system. All the farmers I have interviewed, doesn't matter how they grow, they've all told me they eat organic because they don't feel the GMOs and the chemicals are safe to consume. But they have no choice in the way that they farm. So don't get mad at the farmers. They're doing what they have to do to make a living. And the two main things that they have all said to me, the two main underlying issues, underlying problems are, one, nobody wants to pay the cost of what it costs to grow food. Now, years ago, we used to put 45% of our household income into our food, and these days it's 15%, and we're still screaming and crying all the way home from the grocery store. It costs money to grow good, healthy food. Now, our organic farmers, they're bringing in people from overseas to work on our farms because that's number two. No one will work on the farm. Nobody wants to get out there and do the hard labor. I've seen the ads that the farmers put into the paper. Needed 300 people to weed. No experience necessary. When nobody answers the ad, they get on their tractor and they spray because they don't have a choice. If they don't get rid of the weeds, there won't be a crop.